Welcome back, I'm Kim Bailey and this is Floral Art Online, the supermarket series. In this design we're going to utilise our idea of perlite. So I talked to you about that in the previous video. It's a replacement for floral foam. It's a natural product, so it doesn't leave the microplastics in the environment the way the floral foam does. We need to use it with water. We also need to, when you're preparing your arrangement, you'll need a mask and some gloves when you're working with the perlite because it's got a very fine dust that comes off it and we don't want to be inhaling that or getting it in through our skin in that way. So I have already got some prepared perlite that I will use in this design, so you won't see me doing that this time. If you want to see how it's done, that's in the first video for May of 2023. What we are going to reuse is this float bowl that we have used previously, and as we discovered last time we used it, it's got a crack in it. For this particular activity, I've just covered that, sealed that with some hot glue, because what I've done either end, because this is where the perlite's going to go, and because it's got water in it, we want to have something that will stop it spreading around to the rest of the float bowl. I've just made little walls of hot glue, and that's just a matter of going back and forwards with the hot glue and building it up so that you've got a little barrier there. It'll be sufficiently covered so that you won't see it, and in the long run I'll be able to pull it off, so it's not going to damage this particular float bowl. So let's get started with our design. Now, as you can see, we've got our perlite into the container, held in place by the two hot glue walls that we created here, and it's compacted pretty tightly so that it will hold the flowers that we put into the container here. I'm going to turn it on its side so I can see what I'm doing as I go, and you'll be able to see it as well. I can tell you that the crack is holding strong. Not enough moisture is coming through that hot glue in that spot to leak out, so the water will be retained. The other benefit of the perlite is that it actually looks quite attractive in this style of a vase or a container. It actually looks quite attractive, so you don't need to cover it up quite as much. You could actually have more sparse placements because that will just enhance the design. It'll look like it's in sand or pebbles or something like that. So you will notice that we are reusing the chrysanthemums. These have been going now for a month. They are a very forgiving cut flower, so whenever you can get them, I would encourage you to get them and use them and play with them and see all the sorts of different things that you can do with them. So let's start with our placements. We've got some, as you would recall, that have got very short stems, so they're ideal for this particular placement. And what I want to do is have a couple of larger ones at each end, and then we'll do the placements of the smaller ones. Have to find them. There they are. I don't want him touching the table, so we'll trim him off a little bit. We'll just put these, that's something I probably could have done beforehand, is sort them out into the stem length so that I know where I'm going with them. Here's another short one. And I have him at this end. And as I said in that last design, I'm going to have to wash my hands when I'm finished. Push your plant material down into the perlite so that it's going to get the best possible amount of water. There's another one. And now we just want to, we mightn't even use all of these, although it'd be a shame to not use them. But once you use them in this type of container, you've only got very short stems, so it's the ideal one to use when they're at the end of their vase life, because we're just going to get the most we can out of them. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually trying to grade them in a sympathetic shape to the shape that we've got in the float bowl. There are a few of these flowers now that I look at them that are past their best, and so they won't get used in this particular design. But we've still got some of the buds that haven't opened up. Remember also to have them facing different ways. not always facing upwards or always facing the same way. Gives a bit more interest, makes our eyes walk through the design. I'm inclined to just put one here. I'm just looking at my eyes, looking at the balance. Just put one here that is one of the smaller ones. I'll trim off all of the sad little petals from the outside. It's a bit like doing one of those sand art meditation things. You know, you just sort of let your mind flow the way you want it to, the way it feels like it should go. What I might do is put a couple of little buds between these ones so they're not such heavy placements at the end of the design, doesn't sort of cut off like that. I'll tuck them in underneath so that if you're looking at it from a different angle, it looks like it's a little grouping at the end there. And hopefully you'll be able to see that when you see the photos. It's been an interesting challenge for me doing this series because I'm so often so focused on the competition stuff that I don't get a chance to do things just to experiment, just for the pleasure, just for a bit of practice. So I do appreciate that you are leaving me comments and saying how much you're enjoying what I'm doing and suggesting other things for me to try or that you would like to learn about. And I do encourage you to keep doing that, because whether you like the design or not, and I'm happy for you to say you don't like it, doesn't do anything for you. You know, I often will look at designs and think, no, I wouldn't have done that. Just not how I would use the plant material. It's all about, it is art in that sense, and so it's all about what the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I do encourage you and I do thank you for engaging with me and keeping me going in this endeavour by telling me what you think, and I'm going to continue doing it. So there we have our little float bowl. I'm actually very happy with that. I didn't really know how it was going to come out. So I'll take some photos so you can see it in all its beauty. But there we have, once again, using the perlite rather than any other form of water source for our plant material. I'm Kim Bailey. This is Floral Art Online, the supermarket series.